my passion has always been this focusing on how God's laws work. Because God's laws are like a framework that everything else exists within. Do you know what I mean by that? It's like a framework. You imagine, perhaps, how can I illustrate this? Because this is a universal thing to understand, that all of God's laws are what enable all other potentials and possibilities. So all of God's laws can exist without the possibilities. The entire universe came into existence and is structured in its current form by laws that were created before the universe came into existence. The law existed before the physical thing came to be. Every single law that governs your soul came into existence before your soul, or anybody's soul for that matter, was created. Every single law was present. Now that's pretty fascinating, that these laws exist without the physical matter or the spiritual matter existing. And if you can understand that every one of God's laws is loving and was in existence before anything physically or spiritually, in terms of matter, was ever created, then you begin understanding the power of actually engaging those laws at your soul level. You see what most of us are doing, what most of us are doing is we are avoiding God's laws or trying to work around them constantly. And in the process of doing that, we are actually working against laws. Now let me illustrate to you how that looks. So if this is a brick wall, you imagine that's a brick wall, this is how it looks. That's how it looks. That's what we're doing in our life. Now what do you end up with? Minimum, a headache. Maximum, your whole skull cracked apart. Death, in other words, is what you end up with doing that. And the majority of us are continuing to see God's laws as trauma and something to rebel against and something to avoid and something to work around. You cannot work around any of God's laws. Now, on earth, we get used to working around men's laws, don't we? Do you find that? Yeah. Speed limit, 100. Totally open road, no one is on the highway. 130, 150, 170. Yeah, this is feel comfortable. Because we are so used to wanting to get our own way, wanting to break the law. Now, from God's perspective, we are often just constantly butting our heads against the brick wall of God's laws, because God's laws are unchangeable. You cannot adjust them in any way, and they affect all of us in the same manner. I am totally under the same control of the same laws and the same manner as you are. There is no difference. All of God's laws are completely loving and completely perfect, but also completely just and completely in harmony with equality. All of them. We all live by them. So then we've got to ask ourselves, why does a different thing happen to me than happens to you? Because of our soul. What's going on in our soul?